The year was 1770. The streets of London were crowded. At every corner of the city, people were trying to get on with their day as quickly as possible. Businessmen clambered over the dirty roads, covering their noses as they rushed through the narrow alleys that had become home to many of the city's poor. All they could think about, as they hurried past, was reaching their homes, where a warm, home-cooked dinner stood steaming on the table, waiting eagerly to be eaten. Stains of mud and puddles of water competed to cling to the rushing gentlemen's shoes as they passed by those who sat barefoot, starving in the streets, begging for a coin, though one was rarely given. Grace, the Duchess of Whittenmanor, sat in her large bedroom on a chair draped in white silk in the grand Victorian castle that bore her name. Her long black hair brushed her ankles as her maid, Nora, gently combed through it. It shone like the surface of the sea. Grace's midnight blue eyes stared sadly at her reflection in the silver mirror. Her skin was pale as porcelain and soft as cotton. Her beauty was exceptional. Everyone who saw her widened their eyes, gazing at her a moment longer than was proper, all wondering the same thing. How could such an adorable creature carry so much sadness in her eyes? Didn't she, Grace, the Duchess of Whittenmanor, have it all? Beauty, youth, a noble title, wealth. My lady, the Duke is waiting downstairs for you. Let us hurry. I'll bring the new dress. It just arrived yesterday. Oh, you will look splendid in it. I can't wait to see it on you. The maid's enthusiasm reminded Grace of her younger self, once full of excitement, joy, and laughter. But that had been a long time ago. Grace forced a slight smile. Yes, thank you, Nora. Dark blue satin fell softly around her body. It fit her perfectly. Oh, just look how the color matches your eyes, my lady. Grace smiled, thankful for her maid's kindness. She stood, took a deep breath, and walked slowly to the staircase in the great hall where burning candles did their best to chase away the darkness. It was already 7 o'clock. Downstairs, the smell of glazed chicken made her stomach twist. She hadn't eaten since breakfast. Finally, what took you so long? Duke Edward looked at his young wife from where he sat at the long mahogany table. His eyes were more inspecting than admiring. He took a sip of whiskey, waiting for an answer. For a moment, silence filled the room. I apologize, my lord, Grace said softly. Edward raised his eyebrows and continued staring at her. Sit down, he commanded. The maid instantly pulled the chair out for her. The table was filled with delicious food, grilled chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, at least 3 different sauces, all steaming and ready to be eaten. Grace felt dizzy with hunger as she stared down at her plate, the candlelight casting a golden shimmer across it, making it even harder to resist. She took a sip of wine and glanced at her husband as he took his first bite. In silence, she watched him. The expensive black suit tailored to perfection, the pale skin preserved by a life free from labor, and the cold blue eyes that never once had shown her warmth. She sighed. How different she had imagined her life would be on the day her father, a humble farmer, told her the Duke had asked for her hand in marriage. She took another sip of wine. A warmth from the alcohol spread through her body. She had grown up as a farmer's daughter in a nearby village, a simple life marked by hard work and sweat, but also by laughter and love. She would not lie to herself. She had dreamed of another life while growing up on the farm. A life that could offer more. She bit her lip at the memory, but she had never thought that marrying the Duke would mean a life without love. After their marriage 3 years ago, he had changed. He stopped looking at her with admiration. He stopped holding her hand. He even stopped kissing her. The truth was, Grace felt like little more than a servant to him. He showed her no affection, no tenderness. This was not how she had imagined life as a duchess in London. A marriage without love. A man as cold as winter. Her heart ached to be loved, but as the years passed, she had in some ways accepted her fate. You haven't touched your food, Edward said. His voice was as sharp as the untouched knife beside her plate. Worry crept into her chest. The corset under her dress made it even harder to breathe. She was afraid and starving, but she knew what she had to do. Though she suffered from loneliness, she knew others suffered worse. Starvation was a question of life or death. My lord, I give you my sincere apologies, she said, forcing a small smile. I'm feeling a bit tired today. I would like to ask your permission to save my dinner for later. Of course, I will still accompany you and enjoy your company, but if I may, I shall eat when I feel a bit better." A loud slam interrupted her. Grace gasped as the table shook and cutlery clattered to the floor. "Silence," he roared, so loudly the candle flames nearly went out. Grace froze, her blue eyes widened in shock. She looked like a deer hearing a hunter's shot. "You stupid little thing, do you think you can fool me?" he spat. Grace swallowed hard, too frightened to speak. Her hands gripped the chair, her heart pounded in her ears. Edward's gaze was filled with disgust, his muscles tensed. The terrified maid beside them feared what might happen next. She couldn't let anything happen to the young Duchess, not someone so kind, so warm, who treated the staff like family. Grace's heart was made of gold. "This is my house," Edward screamed, his eyes wild like a beast closing in on prey. "And my food, which you have chosen to reject and instead throw away to beggars on the street, to the scum of the earth." Grace's heart pounded. How did he find out? "Did you think I wouldn't know?" he bellowed. "What kind of fool do you take me for? The maids who carried your meals out day after day, they're my maids. Did you think they wouldn't report back to their master?" He sneered. "You stupid little thing, you thought you could fool me." Grace pushed back her chair and stood, suddenly filled with a strength she thought she had left behind in the barn he dragged her from. Pointing toward the door, she shouted, "There are people out there dying of hunger while this house is flooded with food, more than we can possibly eat. What else did you expect me to do?" Edward was stunned.